We're talking about challenges. Let's talk about quality of life next. So say it with me. Hello, Sunny. So next up is Nicki Grossman, President of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Carlos Molinet, Senior Vice President of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau, to talk about quality of life, and it all begins with a visit. Hello, Sunny.
Tony, thank you. Let me hear it again on three. 1, 2, 3. Hello, Sunny. All right, that's better. It's a delight to be up here with Nicki, with this incredible audience, and the fact that it's year 2 of 6 pillars. I'm going to provide a quick top-line overview of the impact of tourism, and then Nicki, as only Nicki can, will bring it home for what it means to us here in Broward County. So at the U.S. level, the numbers tell the great story. U.S. travel tells us that direct spending in the U.S. by domestic and international travelers grew by almost 4% to a record almost $888 billion in 2013. Of this total, $748 billion was spent by domestic travelers. That was up almost 3% from 2012. In 2013, international travelers, and Nicki's going to touch on that here, how big that is in Broward County, at the nationwide level, they spent almost $140 billion, and that was up almost 11%. During the same year, Americans spent $86.2 billion in other countries, to give you context. As a result, the U.S. travel and tourism business generated a trade surplus, and that's a surplus to the good, of $53.3 billion for that year. Travel directly supported almost 8 million U.S. jobs. That was an increase of 2.4% from the previous year. Travel generated payroll was $209 billion. Tax revenues, $133 billion. It's a great story. Now, here in Florida, another great story. Will Seckham recently, in fact, he'll be our welcome speaker, the CEO of Visit Florida, so I hope you're all going to be with us on May 7th for Tourism Day. And in 2014, Visit Florida set an all-time record at the state. We welcomed and greeted a record 97.3 million visitors. Yeah, that's a wow, right? You can applaud, please. We were pretty happy about that. Our goal at Visit Florida is 100 million visitors this year, and Nicki's going to tell you that we're going to more than do our part on that. And the more staggering goal, and it ties into everything that 6 Pillars is about, which to me is really that 20-year plan. You saw it with the port. You've seen it with a lot of the speakers today. And that's the fact that Visit Florida predicts that by the year 2020, only 5 short years away, we're going to have 127 million visitors. It's pretty astounding. So when you talk about infrastructure, when you talk about all the things that 6 Pillars brings to the table, we got to get this done. And by the way, this year, those record 97.3 million visitors for the state of Florida, they spent $76.1 billion. And an even better story for anyone, whether you're on the political side, private side, or public side. For every 85 visitors to state, and also here in Broward County, 1 tourism job was created, and excitingly, 1 indirect job was created as well. And here in Broward County, as I tell my friend Bob Swindell all the time and his fabulous team at the Alliance, it all starts with a visit. So I believe we should adopt and say, it's a wonderful place to live, work, play, I love to prosper, and visit. With a visit, thank you, I'm glad you agree. And because when you start with a visit, whether it's business or leisure, the cycle of the return trip, it leads to real estate purchases, business meetings, events, and what Bob and all of you are interested in, which is relocations of their companies. And we saw some great examples today. How about that Ultimate Software and what they're doing? So now, what does it mean for Broward County? Our tourism czar, our CEO, Nicki Grossman, is going to tell us. Nicki?
I think they put me in a lightning round because they really don't think I can do it, but I'm going to tell you I can do this. First, I have to tell you, though, that they just had Career Day. We were talking a little bit earlier about that at my 6-year-old granddaughter's elementary school. And after everybody spoke and did their stuff, they asked each of the kids to fill out a page that begins with, "The job I want is," and my sweet Emily put, "My Nana's job." But then she said, "I don't know what it is, but she always has fun." So I do have a wonderful, wonderful place. Carlos mentioned Tourism Day at the Convention Center. That is the next public visit of the Walker Elementary School. We signed them today. They will be there to open our program, and thank you very much for that. But mainly, it's great to have the opportunity to talk to the community because, in fact, We have a quality of life in this community that no community that has 1.8 million residents has. And the reason for that is very simple. Commissioner LaMarca was very exuberant about his 14.1 million number for our visitors last year. The number is actually 14.3 million. We had set a goal for 14 million in 2014, and there is no reason for us to believe that we can't make 15 million in 2015. But the numbers for us speak for themselves. This is a community that has been willing to reinvent itself more than once and take and it takes a lot of courage to do that. There are a lot of cities around this country that won't do it and can't do it. Broward County and Greater Fort Lauderdale, the communities in our neighborhoods, took that chance. They reinvented themselves, and nobody looks back. Every once in a while, I'm called upon to ask about spring break. We don't look back at spring break anymore. We look forward to, instead of the $10 million spent by 350,000 sophomoric morons in our beaches and jumping from balconies into swimming pools. Last year, 1.1 million people in the destination spent $1.2 billion during what we called spring break. So do we look back on that? No, we don't. We look forward. But the numbers speak for themselves. We've had record-breaking numbers in Broward County for our hospitality industry that include December, January, and February, the highest occupancy in the state of Florida. And if you stop and think about that for a second, we don't have a mouse. We don't have South Beach. You can get to both of them from here. But we have a community that people have now decided gives them bragging rights. They want to be here because they want the experience of being in this place, the kind of quality experience that we get to have every single day thanks to them being here. 3,500 restaurants and 55 public golf courses and all of the tennis facilities, recreation facilities, the hotels, the theater, the culture, really serves our visitors. And every once in a while, we need to treat ourselves like a visitor, and we need to go to sunny.org and download your 2-for-1 summer special card and get out and see what this community has become. Because I can rattle off places that none of you have ever been, and you're going to be sorry that you haven't been, because they're going to get crowded when more and more people discover them. So treat yourself like a VIP visitor and get online and do that. We have the best January and February just behind us on record. We have never had stronger numbers. March occupancy came in at 88.3%, which is one of the top in the state. But in February, and I know you probably felt that when you were on the road or at Publix or someplace, 94% occupancy in the hotels in Broward County. An outstanding number. Well, I didn't stay in one, so don't clap for that. But I will tell you that people, again, we hear the airport numbers, how great they are. Secretly and quietly, I sat there, I went, you're welcome. You hear about Port Everglades and how terrific the cruise business is and the industries are doing, and I sat there quietly and I said, you're welcome. And you hear about the businesses in Broward County who are having success and profitability again because our tourism numbers are so high, and our visitors need the services that you're providing, and I just want to tell you all you're welcome. It is a wonderful opportunity that we have to sell your message, our message, the amenities that God gave us on both East and West. You talk about the seagrass in the Atlantic Ocean and the sawgrass in the deepest part of the Everglades, and there's something to do in both. I mean, who are we when we complain? We're not really there all the time. This is nothing to complain about. 64 months of consecutive growth and positive growth in the metrics, the measures that show the success of the hospitality industry, and we are just getting started on that. This is something that, as you see new hotel product being developed, you see the cranes are back, not only the white ones that walk around on the ground, but the big tall cranes that are building our community to be better for all of us and for our visitors. They're all back. It's big business. The money that our visitors spent, the $11.4 billion, was broken down: lodging, 2.6 billion, restaurants and dining 3.1 billion, shopping 2.3 billion, and shopping has become a very, very important attraction that we have here in Broward County. Don't sell it short, go out and buy something. Entertainment, $1.2 billion, transportation, $1.6 billion, and while we love to talk about regionalism, and we do love our neighbors and friends and my family in Miami-Dade and our neighbors and friends and family in Palm Beach County, my job is to kick their ass when we're competing with them for business. I feel really good about it when we get to do it, and part of that is because as we hit that 15 million visitor number in 2015, we will be delivering 15% of the total number of visitors to the state's 100 million goal, and to their future goal, we're going to be growing at a pace that will outpace the rest of the state. The tourist tax collection is at an all-time high, $53 million, up 12% over 2013. And we like to talk about jobs. 1 out of every 4 people that is working in Broward County has a job in the hospitality industry. 168,000 people are employed full-time here. And that's what happens when you're working on all cylinders. That's what happens when your community gets the support or gives the support to the Convention and Visitors Bureau that we get from all of you. And we know that you're doing your job, and we're trying to do the same thing. We're doing our job to lay the foundation for future growth. Leisure Sales is working together with the airport to generate new domestic and international travel. Our international travel grew over 26% from last year, and it's not all Canadian. And I know you may be surprised to hear that, especially if you live in Hollywood or in Pompano, but it's not all Canadian. The largest segment of growth for our international visitors last year was South American. We have new direct flights and service to our airport, and they are not here just to lie out in the sun. They are here because they're interested in our heritage. They're here because they're interested in our culture. They're here because they're interested in doing business with you. And that export comment that you heard earlier, there is a good market for you once somebody comes here, begins with a visit, meets you, knows your product, and then takes that business back to the country that they come from. Our marketing team spent a lovely winter, as you can see, freezing at our bus benches, our bus shelters in Boston and Chicago. It was almost cruel what we did, but you just do what feels good for you, and we took those. Actually, we had like 30 and 40 people at the bus benches once we got started. There was interactive television in those bus benches, and from the beaches in Hollywood and Fort Lauderdale and Pompano, we did live remotes with those poor freezing folks. And they were just watching we had models, of course, not me, doing beach volleyball in bikinis and just having a wonderful time watching them. 10 of them won free trips to Greater Fort Lauderdale. We had hotel partners that gave hotel rooms and airline partners that flew them in. And so it was a great activation. But it never hurts to have Mother Nature as a major marketing partner. That was like, thank you. See you next year. Come October, the mantra here in this community is let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. And apparently somebody's listening. So every October 1st, that's what you have to say each morning when you wake up. Our LGBT market is celebrating great growth and promise. We had marriage equality celebrated here in this destination with a program called Love is Love. We brought over 100 couples from around the country, some gay, some straight, and they got married in a mass ceremony that was attended by Lance Bass. And if those of you don't remember something, what was it, In Sync? Yeah. He was like the ambassador of our marriage program. We got more national and international media based on that program than we have had in a very long time. It was hugely well accepted. And important to note that we are ranked as one of the top 5 LGBT destinations in the world. You don't think when you're living here that that's going to be a tag that you're going to read about someday, but we have the largest number of same-sex households in the country here in Broward County, and we were the 3rd, actually, largest most visited destination by the LGBT travel community. Our Office of Film, Music, and Entertainment, and you know, you talk about permitting, we did over 700 permits and nobody cried. Nobody pulled their hair out. They got their movies and commercials and musical videos done here with the help of folks like you. Again, we had huge success with our Tortuga Music Festival, Lauderdale Live, all of the wonderful things that entertainment means to a community also helps to draw visitors, and created over 40,000 room nights over this past year. Sports and Multicultural, who continue to bring groups into all parts of Broward County, whether it's Jazz in the Gardens or the Judo Championships. Whatever the sport activity is, we are able to accommodate it. Your cities are kind enough to help us with venue selections for our clients, and believe it or not, over 350,000 room nights last year, and no Super Bowl, by the way. 350,000 room nights were used by our sports partners and groups that came to town. And speaking of the group business, yeah, maybe I can't do lightning, I'm sorry, I'm trying. We sold to 1,056 groups last year to come to the destination. Some had their meetings in hotels, some at the convention center. And it generated over $1 billion in economic impact, just the group business. And if you think back 10, 15 years, we were a 99% leisure destination, and today we are about 23% of our business is group business, and it's really very exciting for us to know that that's where the potential growth is. National Urban League is coming to Florida for the first time. Oh, so you already probably know this. For the first time this year. They're not going to Miami, although we love Miami and we love the regional feeling. They're not going to Orlando, although we love Orlando and we love the regional feeling, statewide feeling. They're coming to Broward County. They're coming to Greater Fort Lauderdale, 10,000 strong, and they're bringing their message of empowerment. And right now, if you think people are not paying attention to the message that the Urban League is bringing, you're not paying attention. But they are bringing their conference to this destination to share their philosophy, their excitement, their enthusiasm. And for the first time, we were told by their CEO, Mark Morial, that they're also being told, don't bring ties and jackets, bring your family instead. So we're going to be looking at some great business based on the National Urban League. The Southern Comfort Transgender Conference is coming. TBEX International, which is a group of over 1,000 travel bloggers, are going to be right here in our community this year, all coming to see us between now and the end of the year, many of them during the summertime. And what does the future hold for us, and what's missing from our destination? We're expecting to do an expansion of our convention center that will put us really give us the ability to attract about another third of the kind of group business that we're getting now, 1 million room nights, and business that we can't get because we, not only do we need an expansion, but we don't have an on-site headquarters hotel. That building's been open since 1990. We've tried 3 times in Broward County to do that. This is the 4th time. There is a very committed Broward County Commission because the impact of tourism does not go unnoticed, not only in your business, but in county business as well. And we are looking at increasing our tourism by over $1 billion once that hotel can open. I am going to just give you a disclaimer. I'm about to show you a very brief video that kind of rolls you through the site, the potential site, because this isn't just going to be a convention center hotel. It's going to be a South Florida destination. The video was prepared by our friend Steve Hudson, thank you, who is interested actually in building a convention center hotel at the site, but we haven't, that process has not even begun. The competitive process hasn't begun, but he has the best damn video around for the site. So if you would please roll the video, and I would like to thank all of you for your commitment to what's happening and has happened in Broward County over the past 20 years. Thanks. Video.